Hey, Bakes, can you pull up Meta? I suspect there's a lot of viewers sitting on that in their portfolio and wondering WTF these past few
Well, I
weeks.
mean, if they are, they haven't listened to our show and taken our advice, or my
Amen.
advice at least.
Amen for that.
And here's the broken record. And I got to tell you, this is, so fortifying that when I go through my charts every night, I know exactly what I'm going to do at the open the next morning. And I can't own individual names, full disclosure, but this is just clear as day. A gap down on earnings, which means people don't like what you had to say about CapEx or anything else. This is back in October at 666. That's sell a third. The 200 days starts going down here, 1107. The November of last year, 621. That's the stock price. So that's what an average is, 630, give or take. And then the 50-day comes down through here at 673. So you're out at around $650. I didn't do the math, but I'm rounding and coming close. And you're out of this name at the end of last year. This you probably said, "Oh, Bakes, you're an idiot. You missed this." Okay, but I also missed this. And when it started taking out this 600 intermediate low in January, I said, "You got problems here." And I didn't, I didn't have the excuse of a bad legal outcome to drive this thing down. But I don't care. I mean, that's a good thing about technicals. It's, the market's telling me something's wrong, and then the newspaper will tell me after the fact what was wrong. And so the next thing you're going down to is 479, and there's nothing, this support is not going to catch this, move that's on, 1.5 times normal volume. With a relative strength of 20, we took out the relative strength line. This is the monthly. And the reason I think I brought it up before, Stephen, was if this keeps going, their next earnings report, they're going to say, "Hey, you know what, CapEx, we're going to do the low end of the number." And then it ripples through NVIDIA, et cetera. Exactly. And I think that's becoming more and more likely, even than when I talked about this, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
And that's the nuance that Charlie didn't tell you when he was talking about getting short SMH. Is these stocks start to lose their mojo, and they're going to start cutting CapEx.
That's what I think. That's what, and that's about as fundamental as I'm going to get. But that just seems, that's what they did when they changed the name to Meta. They said, "We're going to take our virtual reality stuff and augmented reality stuff. We're going to dial that down," and the stock loved it. And now they were applauded. I'll go back to Meta for a second. They were given, high praise and applause when, the day of the year of austerity, right around here.
Yeah.
But then they started spending money on data centers, and people liked it until they don't. And
Steve, you made a very important point about CapEx spending. A lot of people thought we would be in a recession a year ago or 2 years ago, but it was the huge CapEx spending by the hyperscalers that prevented that from happening. So if we do get that reduction in CapEx spending on top of the negative wealth effect, then I'm almost sure by the fourth quarter we'll be in a recession.
Yep.
And the problem with that is the stocks bottom when the recession's announced. So, you've got to be getting out of any names that look like this and look like Meta. Frankly, you should have got out by the end of last year and avoided this 3 months of fiasco. But
so for those that like to try to buy dips, this is not a dip. This is not a dip Meta you'd be buying yet.
Not even a little bit. I mean, if they,
if they can recapture that.
Could they bounce to this 581 where this broke down? But I mean, we had a gap down through 581. 581 didn't even serve as support. So if you see anything with a 560, 570, on a bounce, shoot this. No, I mean, I'm just
How do
serious.
you really feel, Bakes?
You know, it's
Get the fuck out. Pardon my French.
these are stocks. There aren't people. They're not friends. And you know, getting emotions out of this game is I think vitally important. And it took me, I don't know, 15 years to beat it into me, and then the next 15 were a lot more fun.